Well, you look at the Confederate flag. Now, I'm not going to speak to whether it's racist or not. But what you're seeing is just everybody falling all over themselves to completely erase it from the American scene. The problem is, just like with homosexual marriage, I'm looking at this from the 50,000-foot level. This is just a crisis that they're not going to waste. Just like gay marriage was not a crisis that they're going to waste. And I want to say thank you for putting up the post that you did, because I followed some of the links, and I'll be putting up some more posts later on. The whole intent is to, over time, make marriage irrelevant and just completely destroy it.
They've admitted that, too.
You're now seeing with the Confederacy, they are willing to erase history. Well, who else does that? Well, Germany did it with the Nazis, but you're also seeing it with ISIS, where they're erasing every single legacy, whether it's an important artifact or not. They're just blowing stuff up or hammering it down in a way to be able to erase history. And now we're seeing it here in the United States. And who's doing it? Well, you look at Stalin, that famous picture of the guy who, and I can't remember his name, but a lot of people are bringing that up in the cause of this Confederate flag controversy. Well, he was a bigwig in the Soviet Union, stood next to Stalin. And then when he fell out of disfavor and was executed, all of a sudden all the pictures that were up there, he's no longer there. He was erased. So he was erased from history. It's like 1984, down the memory hole.
Well, if you remember the Ten Commandments, when Ramses, in the movie, when Ramses declares that, Moses' name will be struck from every stone and every scroll and every place that exists so that he will no longer be anything to anyone ever again. It's basically the same premise.
Yeah, we're going to have to move the camera because Mike is now joining us.
Well, I could sit Piggy in the middle back there, but it looks pretty tight.
Kind of cozy.
Oh, there he is.
That's better.
So I was going switch headsets.
Yeah, I was going to
Mike,
coin a phrase.
Mike, switch headsets.
Okay, just a minute.
Switch chairs as well?
No, just take that headset and swap it.
Why don't you just put the Eye of Sauron on him and you can switch back and forth.
Yeah, I can do that too.
All right,
have you adjusted me?
Well, certainly the progressives want to adjust you.
Well,
and me and Steve and everybody else that'll be in this room.
The progressives want to adjust mankind. That's their problem. Instead of having, as our founders intended, immutable laws to constrain human nature, they think that they should be able to remake human nature to fit their idea of what the laws should be.
No, absolutely. And we're seeing that where anything that gets in their way from a cultural standpoint must be eliminated. And we're seeing that. They've taken the heights of the culture in Hollywood. They've taken it in the literature. They've taken it in the academy. They've taken over the educational system.
They're going to lose that, and I'll explain why.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's not entirely clear. But you erase your history. If you don't know where you've been, then you don't know where you're going is a bad place or not, because they're also trying to take out religion, and I'm going to be posting more on that because it's looking really, really bad, where basically regulations are trumping the Constitution, and I have seen calls now for people to strike from the Constitution that which offends them. So, and I've also seen calls for doing away with the American flag. So if you erase all this, what's left? Well, it's what the progressives want you to see. And never, ever forget, folks, progressives are nothing more than hiding communists. They're incremental socialists. And except for now, they are ravenous and they have come out of the closets.
Absolutely. So, yeah, when you were talking about erasing our history and erasing the country even, we could probably name an organization, La Eraza.
Well, they're far from the only one.
Because they want to erase our culture and replace it with theirs.
Well, they certainly want to do it all the way across. And as I wrote last night, in the beginning of Obama's term, all of our heads were spinning. We were saying, how the heck could they be moving this fast on so many fronts? We can't keep up. And we felt bludgeoned. We felt steamrolled. I think we've gone with the flow because now we understand what's going on. A lot of this, like with the gay marriage, has been in place for decades, and they knew they couldn't do it. And now with Obama, even with the Republican weenie majorities in Congress that can't...
The invertebrate Congress.
Invertebrate. They just...
I thought invertebrates had mostly been left behind by evolution. The progressives, of course, want societal evolution, but as part of that societal evolution, we seem to have bred a new race of invertebrates. They're called Republican leaders.
Yeah, and it's a case where there's nobody acting as the backstop. And they now know Obama's at the end of the term. I think they understand that they're probably going to lose the presidency. At least I'm hoping that they will. And, maybe this will come to a stop, except for the fact that they have so infiltrated federal government. We've made it no secret. We are scared of the administrative state that is now the federal government, where unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats are literally changing how we are allowed to live without proper legislation.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So, I mean, the British TV programs, Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister, are a skit on the titular head of a department versus the permanent bureaucracy, where they sort of nod and say yes and go along, but basically they run the place and the country the way they always did and the way they want to. And the minister thinks he's getting his own way some of the time. I'm sure the same thing is happening with the bureaucracies. One of the candidates, in fact, it was our interview with Rick Perry last weekend, Skip, which was really, really interesting. I said, how are you going to get a grip on the administrative state? And he said, it's quite simple. I can't fire these people, but I can reassign them. And so if they don't comply with the directions to shrink their departments and lay off the regulations, they'll get reassigned. And they can get reassigned to places they don't like. Me thinking Siberia here, but you know what I mean.
No, you basically...
After a few fairly public reassignments...
The regulatory equivalent of Ice Station Zebra.
Yeah, exactly. After a few fairly public reassignments, they're going to get with the program.
The 10th basement floor, no windows.
They are never going to get with the program, because the only program they are with is believing they are better than we are and they must do what they can. But I do foresee, if Rick Perry were to take place, and we had this conversation...
Or somebody similar, anyway, with that kind of idea.
And we brought this up with Ted Cruz. We've brought it up with Carly Fiorina. A vast warehouse with lots of chairs with high walls that would normally do a cubicle, but just chairs. No power, no phone, and a cell phone jammer. No Wi-Fi, no nothing. You sit there, and that's it. And basically corralling them. I do have to say, while I may have disagreed with Ron Paul with a whole lot of stuff, certainly one of his campaign promises was, well, I'm just going to not spend $1 trillion every year. Gosh, that would take care of a whole lot of bureaucrats.
Yeah, I was going to say, now, if you can't fire him but he doesn't fund him, how does that work?
Well, that's the best alternative, is that you persuade Congress. And, all of the candidates that I think are credible are saying very clearly that they're going to appeal to the people to pressure Congress to shrink government. I just hope the heck it's going to work, because simply the president jawboning Congress with the number of invertebrates in it, it's not going to work unless the public provides regular doses of spine stiffening.
Well, here's my answer to that. Big sigh, and this is the thing where, and it leads into why Trump is leading in some of these polls, or coming in first, second, or third, but high up than most, which is
he's
driving.
Going to fire the damn apprentices.
Well, no, not quite. I think, and there's a few more posts that I have to put up, but
just a few,
back.
just a few thousand, because there's more years left.
Raw Talk.